Vanguard Dear Days 2 is now out, and there are a lot of things that you should know before you get into the game. So let's jump into it and talk about some of the must-knows that you should definitely find out about before you decide if you want to buy it. And also, if you already have bought it, these are the things that you really should also be informed about to get the most out of your Dear Days 2 experience. So first things first, we jump into it. You get to see the beautiful menu out here, but the thing when you start the game for the first time, so if I return to title here, you'll get to see it. You start the game and you're immediately asked to make a new game. When you make a new game, it will ask you if you want to transfer your Dear Days 1's cards over or not. If you don't say yes to that, it will not ask you again, and you'll have to restart and make a new game in Dear Days 2 from scratch to get asked that again. If you play Dear Days 1 on the same platform that you're playing Dear Days 2 on, you will have to say yes to that, right? So if you're on Switch, for both, then you can transfer over, but if you play Dear Days 1 on Switch and then now you're playing on PC, you will not be prompted for that. So just keep that in mind, and you only get to do that when you start a new game. Very, very important. And you also get crafting points equivalent to how many dupes of things you get as well. So in Dear Days 1, there was like 5 million different types of like the default over trigger from like all the different trial decks. And so when you transfer all that to Dear Days 2, it will only give you one of that over trigger, but instead will give you crafting points for all the extras that you had. So you'll actually start with a bunch of crafting points, and how you use these is also very, very important too. Then a lot of people have been wondering, what is the card pool of Dear Days 2, right? To which set does this actually go up to? And Dear Days 1 basically went up to Clash of the Heroes. So this set that you see here that was with like Vermilion and Silhouette and all of the Youthquake decks. But basically it includes this set. But in Dear Days 1, this set was actually incomplete. It was missing some of the other decks like Lulu Suzulu, Silhouette, and whatnot. And so you get the full set in here. You also get Evenfall Onslaught, which is the set with like Bear Lord and like Orphis Masks and like, Rosarium Fairy and stuff like that for Leonorn. And of course also Flight of Chakrabarthi, which is the last set of the original Overdress era. So these are like some very high quality sets with like some very popular decks like Youthberg, Full Blast, and of course Leonorn, Vivace as well. And then on top of that, it also includes the Divines boosters too. So the base game comes with the first 3 sets of Divines, which includes all of the faded ones. So Divine set 1 includes Varga, which is of course used by Nao from the anime. And you also have, of course, the very popular Gun Cyclers, which are, very good generically for almost every single deck that you basically want in everything. You have our new protagonists unit, Rezael, is also in the set too. So this is basically one of the best sets to open just because of that. And Illusionless Strife basically gives you like the Dark States faded one together with the new Divine skill, I guess, if you're coming back to Vanguard for the first time. The very popular Liel Amorta as well. So, and also a new Zorga form and all these things. So that's in Divine set 2. And then Divine set 3 gives you one of the best decks in the format, which is Shoujo Doji, as well as some nostalgic ones like Venus Lukier, as well as Dayusha, and also a new form for like Archite, and a bunch of other stuff too. So it's a pretty good set to get into. And the most recent set that is in the game is the lyrical set, which includes stuff like Coral, Sagitta, new forms for popular lyrical units like Michu, which are also quite strong. And so you have all of that in the base game. Now, what you also have, of course, is the Festival Boosters, and you also have the Festival Booster 2024, which is actually the best pack to open if you start the game. The reason why is that these 4 cards you see right here, the Merizambilia, as well as the Niclazelia, the Radiance Caliburn, as well as this version of Elementaria Sanctitude, you can only own one of each of these copies in a game. But when you pull an extra of these specific 4 cards, the game gives you 2,000 crafting points, which is a lot. You can craft a lot of things with that. And so you basically want to open this pack all the time because every extra copy you get of these 4 cards gives you the most amount of crafting points. So if you're not sure which pack to open to get the most amount of crafting points, just open Festival Booster 2024. It will give you so much. It's absolutely crazy. And if you get a foil duplicate version of one of these, you get 8,000 crafting points. So if you want to just craft decks and go ham on crafting, just go ham on Festival Booster, because not only does it give you so many crafting points, but it also gives you a lot of really good generics, because cards like Ford Rivaltis, cards like Valtrosa and Liel, cards like the Asproni and Saphira, these dual nation cards, they're used in a lot of different decks. So they're really, really good for that too. And you get all the generic triggers in this as well. So that's, I would say, the best pack to open. You also have some DD2 original packs. These are like, they just include every single card from each nation that's ever released, basically. Or I think it's just the ones from that are newly added. So basically these ones are the like Divines exclusive packs. So you get like all the promos and stuff here too. So if you just want to build like one nation, you want to just like build Dark States, then you can just like open the Dark States pack, for example. But that's just the base set. The other thing that this game has is a mode called Vintage Fight, which is literally just Boomer Vanguard. It's 2011, 2012 peak. You have the original Majesty Lord Blaster, original The End, original Final Blaster Overlord. You got original Tsukuyomi. All of the original packs are available all the way up to Limit Break. And apparently they will add more of these through DLC in the future as well. So if you miss that old nostalgic Vanguard feel, you can actually experience it. Open packs for these as well. You can play like, they completely unrestricted everything. So even like Barkle is unrestricted in this. I made a video about this guy when he got banned and unbanned and banned again and all that kind of stuff way back in the day. So they got all of these, you know, OG packs. I got back into the game with Final Blaster Dragon. So very important that you know where the card pool is at, right? There's quite a lot of cool stuff. So that's the booster packs. They also have a bunch of decks. You have the decks that are of course in the base game from Dear Days 1. So these ones. But the game also added, of course, the Stride deck sets that came out as DLC in Dear Days 1. You don't have to buy the DLC again. They just come in the game. You buy them for in-game currency and you get the full Stride deck. And then they also have the stand-up deck sets for things like Graham Grace, as well as the Orphis one that you can get if you want to start playing those decks very quickly, as well as the Luard, as well as Shiranui Stride deck sets too. And the Shiranui one also comes with the purple overtrigger too, which is pretty good. You basically, if you buy this, you get like 2,000 crafting points worth if you already had that too. So you have all these Stride deck sets. You also have the starter decks that we got for free in Dear Days 1, the Youthberg, Jeweled, and Leonorn ones. And you also have you're forced to pick one of these, the startup trial decks that the game comes with. And then finally also the OG trial decks. I did not know about this, but you also have the original trial decks too of Dragonic Overlord and Blaster Blade and Gold Rutil. Funnily enough, Gold Rutil, when you click on it, doesn't have English text. So you have to only look at the card text on here to see what the English text says. And then you also have like Sakuya as well. So very, very nostalgic stuff. So you can pick up one of those as well. And they have a lot of accessories. You can see the deck boxes are actually the ones that exist IRL. So these are the ones that actually released in person. You know, I own a lot of these ones physically too, like this Lukier one. They even have some from the V series, like this Blaster Dark and Blaster Blade and Dragonic Overlord one. So there's a lot. They have like specific character ones from Divines too. Not just from Divines, but from Dear Days characters. And then you also have like Nao and Hikari here. And of course, Zero as well. Then you have sleeves. They have all the sleeves, even like the 10th anniversary sleeves and stuff, like all the OG sleeves, like PBO, Dote, Tsukuyomi, Daiyusha. It's like it's so good. So lots of sleeve options. So this is another thing that I feel like you should know, that there's actually a lot of customizability in this game right off the bat. Lots of playmat options as well if you want to just like set up like one specific playmat pattern that you want to use all the time. And you can even change up what color your Vanguard and Rearguard circles are. So of course, these all just cost in-game currency. So it's really straightforward. But if you don't know where to start, if you want to like just start spending your in-game currency, the best one is Festival Booster 2024. Like I've already opened a few packs of this, but I can show you just how crazy it is, right? You'll see how much crafting currency I'm going to get just from opening a few packs here. We got 11 packs and you'll see it's like, we got one of the Elementary Sanctitudes. Every dupe is 2,000 crafting points. You're going to see, we got another one. Look at this. Look at how much. Foil, Purple OT, Nicola Zelia. If I get another one of these, I get 8,000 crafting points. It's so good for crafting. If all you care about is crafting, just open this. Oh my god, we hit a frame rare. FFR, the freaking Fiarmia. Pretty crazy. This is the streamer buff, bro. Doing this on video is what it's all about. So you can just see here, right? You get all the Dual Nation cards that are like played in a bunch of different decks, but then you're also hitting all these cards that just have so much crafting points that they give, which makes building your decks just so much easier. So I really recommend this set. I think this pack is like the most recommended, I can really say. So just go through it, open up this set specifically, because it will really give you a good head start. So here, let's see. I got So obviously the double rares give like 100 extra crafting points for the doubles, but look at this, right? 2,000 for each one of these Caliburns, that's 4,000. Here's 6,000. Like, and then if I get another copy of this foil Nicolazelia, I'm gonna get another 8,000. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that just insane? So it's really easy to like just get crafting your decks, right? So if I like go to this, right, click on the Varga, and now I can just like craft these Vargas now, right? So it's like, I'd say it's more efficient even to go through Festival Boost and then just like craft all your decks instead of like go through all these sets at random and just like, you know, pray that you pull the cards instead. Because even like crafting secrets, right? If I scroll down all the way, we can find the secret Varga. That's like 10,000. I could craft a secret Varga. It's pretty good. So yeah, that's basically the boosters. That's the most important thing you need to know about like where the game is at, which pack is best to open. And the most important thing that you have to do on this screen when you start the game, and do not miss this, is you want to click this text search button. Very important. If you don't, you're going to miss out one of the most important things in the game, which is a free character and a free deck full of really good cards. You want to type in Apple Juice 9590 into this. And when you do, you hit enter. Oh, okay, that's cool. Oh, you get cards too. You get Shindy. What? What? Damn. You get Shindy and Effectors and Effect PGs. Damn. You get Union the Sky. Okay. It'll unlock a character called Zero, who is the protagonist of the Vanguard Skyride manga. And it will give you his whole deck for free as well, which also comes with some very good generic Dragon Empire cards. So that deck is actually really, really good. I made a whole video going through it in ranked, and it's really, really strong. So I can actually show an example list right here, where this is basically what it would look like if you just upgrade what you get for free, right? So for free, you get the whole ride line, you get this and this, and this, and this, and this, and also this, and this, and this. Basically, the only things you need to craft are this Latifa, and this Justina, and the Elementaria Sanctitude, I think. That's about it. Everything else you get for free. And honestly, I've been already like going on a tear with this deck in ranked. So I really, really recommend it. I think it's genuinely really, really good. So highly recommend just building this deck right off the bat from the very beginning. Then the next point that I think is quite important is that, of course, when you make your decks, you can choose to make standard decks or vintage decks, so the OG format. But standard does have a ban list implemented in this game as well, but it's only for 2 nations. And you can see here the way you make the decks has changed quite a lot too. But if we go to filter, we can actually go to and see all the cards that are either like restricted or banned. So you can see here that Shiranui, I'll move my camera over here for a second. The Shiranui Oboro is choice restricted with the Drag Veda. So you cannot have Drag Veda and Shiranui Oboro in the same deck. And you have Stirgana, the grade 3 from the Gandiva deck, is also restricted to 1. So if it says A, it's like a choice restriction, and if it says 1, it means it's restricted to 1. So you're gonna have 1 in a deck in Dragon Empire. So that's just like one of the restrictions. The other one is actually for Keter. And then we go to the filter, and we go into ban, restricted, 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 choice restricted. Then you'll see that Luard, the Dragheart Luard, is choice restricted with Sergaon. So these 2 cards cannot be put in the same deck, right? So you basically, these are the only restrictions in standard for Dear Days. So that means that, for example, the Shoujo Doji restrictions or the other Shiranui restrictions are not live in Dear Days 2. So those decks are basically at full power. So take that as you will, but that is an important thing that you must know before building your decks. Be aware of the restrictions that are in the game. And then in terms of where you play with the different formats. So, you know, I did say the Vintage Fight is in there. You can go to World Fight. And then ranked only uses standard, but you can do free fights against random players under both formats. So if you go to free fight, you can choose between vintage and standard. So you choose which one you want to go through. And same goes for room fights as well. If you make a room or you want to like join a room somewhere, you can enter a room and then just like look at who has like a room posted up. And then you can basically just like, you can play in those rooms with both of the regulations. So there's no ranked for vintage, it's basically just they're more for like casual play, which is, you know, still fine. Another important thing is that speaking of room fight, they did actually initially when the game came out in the first couple hours before a patch dropped, there was text in the game that said that spectating is an option you can enable or disable. Replay watch permission. Spectating permission! Please, 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 please work. Please work. Somebody join. Somebody join. Somebody join. Somebody join. Somebody join. Somebody please join. This is the most important part. This is the most important part of this game. But it wasn't working. So then they patched it out. But that makes me hope that they're working on patching it back in, and we'll be able to have spectating in Dear Days 2 and actually have tournaments in this game. That's the only thing I really, really want right now, is like add spectating to the game so we can run tournaments in Dear Days 2. It would be super hype. So here's hoping. That's personally my biggest request right now. That's like the one thing that I think Dear Days is really missing. And then the other really common question I get is, what is the Fighter's Pass? So the Fighter's Pass that you see when you buy the game, both on Steam or on Switch, is basically a DLC. So the DLC will unlock future sets over time. So the release date for these is, you have set 4, Destined Showdown, in spring. We don't know exactly when. And then between spring and summer, we'll get set 5 with like Liel Odium, Rezael Vita, Levidros and Pireo, and like all of those. And then we'll get the Stride deck sets for Night Rose and Harry somewhere in the summer as well. So you can buy the Fighter's Pass now, or you can wait a little bit and buy it later too. And you know, you'll be able to just get those sets unlocked when they come out. So I think if you really just enjoy playing Vanguard, then it's worth it. But if not, then just buy the base game and see if you enjoy it, and then decide as you go, basically. And then the final thing I really want to highlight for this video, which isn't necessarily in Dear Days 2, but it's something about Dear Days 2, which is the update to the VG Paradox website. So if you don't know what VG Paradox is, it's basically a website that collects the tournaments results from every single tournament in the world for Vanguard. And you can look through like the top performing decks for each format, and like both in English and in Japanese, and you can like, you know, click on the decks and then look at all the tournaments and be like, you know, you can click on each of the deck lists and see them and stuff. But of course, it's for the actual physical TCG. But Fuzzy Paradox, you know, the creator of this website, he actually made a huge resource for Dear Days 2. And I really think that if you want to get into Dear Days and start playing ranked and whatnot, and like playing in tournaments, I really think that this website is your one-stop shop. So he has a whole tier list. You can go through the different decks here that he ranks, you know, based on his own data. And it actually contains, I think, every single ride line. So even if you go down here all the way to like tier 4, tier 5, like it goes pretty far down. I think tier 5 is the lowest one, but you can go through everything here. And for example, let's say, I don't know, you're a returning player, and let's say you really like Majesty Lord Blaster, right? So you click on it, and then you see the website here. It basically is going to give you all the different statistics about the deck. So it tells you like it's the offense, defense, speed, removal, compression, which means like how quickly you thin out your deck of non-triggers, how easy it is to use, how easy it is to build, which cards are found in which pack. So you actually get like data on where you need to find the cards. And then it even gives you like an example deck list, right? So it shows you the ride line, it shows you the main deck and how many copies of each card. So this one's 4, this one's 1, this one's 4, right? It gives you an example deck list for everything. And you can actually just find like even like other cards you oftentimes see played if you want to pick those up too. And he provided this for every single deck. I will leave a link in the description. This website is everything in my opinion. So if you really want to just like not have to wait, you know, until, you know, people start posting videos and stuff of like, oh, this is the deck list for this deck, this is how to play it and stuff. Just want to see the deck list? This is the website for you, right? I think this is really the most valuable resource you can have for Dear Days 2 right now. And I really hope that as many of you getting into Dear Days 2 are going to use it as well, because it's insane. This is such a good website. It's like, it's honestly crazy. So definitely recommend checking it out. And so that is it. All that I have to say about things that you must know about Dear Days 2 as you get into it. I hope this video helped you a lot. I'll have a lot more videos for Dear Days 2 coming up throughout these next few days, next few weeks, next few months. I think Dear Days 2 is really, really hype, personally speaking, and I'm really excited to make a lot of content with it. So make sure you check out all of those videos coming out soon as well. With that, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.